everyone. My name is Angela, and this is Isaac. We're very happy to be here today to share with you a little bit more about Kwik and what we do. So just a very quick introduction on Kwik. We are a startup that was founded in Tel Aviv in Israel, and we are now headquartered in Palo Alto in California. And Isaac and I are actually representing the company in the Asia Pacific region. We've been in the digital and e-commerce industry for 10 plus years in the region. So I'm going to start the presentation with a very short video first.
Mankind has been driven to innovate and has broken down barriers in almost every field with inventions that change the world. What a waste of time! If they weren't so busy concentrating on all this nonsense, there's a good chance they would have already invented this. A device to order pizza at the push of a button. Domino's introduces the new way to order pizza. Following the telephone, internet, and mobile app, it's time for the magnetic fridge button that knows exactly what pizza you love. One push of the button, and your pizza is on its way. Anyone can reinvent the wheel, but ordering pizza at the push of a button? Wow! Domino's. Register online, and maybe you'll be amongst the first customers to receive the button.
So yes, we are exactly that little button that was featured in the Domino's pilot in also Israel. And we actually piloted with a couple of KC brands in Israel as well. And we will talk a little bit more about that later. So why the button? Because brands like Domino's, and we understand that these days consumers live in this era, what we call the on-demand era. So we want exactly what we want in the way that we want it and the exact moment that when we want it. And we want it nice, quick, and easy to be delivered to us. So in the past, it was actually quite a challenge for brands like us here today to deliver that promise because usually the missing piece of the puzzle is the last mile delivery. But in the last few years, we've seen a lot of international delivery companies like FedEx, UPS, or DHL and the like. They've been really working hard to ramp up their services around the globe with the booming e-commerce industry everywhere, which makes it easier for brands like Pizza Hut, McDonald's, or Domino's, or even the KC brands to directly sell to their customer, and while ensuring the customer journey is very satisfactory. And even the local players, the local logistics players, for example, in Singapore, we know that companies like Ninja Van or Robo, they are really ramping up their services and usually at a lower cost and better services providing to the brands and eventually the end consumers. So while our logistics counterparts worked very hard in the last few years to really improve, to meet the customers' expectations, what have brands been doing? So coming back to our pizza scenario, in the old days, if I just want to order my daughter's favorite pizza, which is, by the way, the exact same thing that I ordered for her last Tuesday, I still have to go down to the pizza shop and have to wait for the pizza to be done and take it back home with me. And then came the invention of the telephone. So brands started to put together call centers to allow customers to place phone orders and get the pizza delivered to their doorstep. And then came the internet. So brands started building websites so people can place online orders. And then the brands learned that, people spend a lot of their time with their cell phone, the smartphone these days. So brands thought, maybe I should develop my own app. But what they didn't realize is that most of the apps, actually 90% of apps, become obsolete to the users. They don't even survive the first 90 days. They get deleted. And what if I can just order that very same pizza with a click of the button? So Amazon, as one of the biggest internet giants of the world, they also recognized it. And last July, they launched this little button called Amazon Dash, and so far it's been working out quite well. How it works is basically when the customers order consumer goods or brands through the Amazon platform in the US, they can pay $4.99 to get a button. But essentially, the button is given to the customers for free because you get $4.99 deposited back to your Amazon account for your next purchase as well. And this is a Tide example here. What it does is that the customers can stick the button next to the washing machine. So if I'm running low on the Tide washing powder, I can simply just push the button, and I get the next bucket of washing powder delivered to me the very next day. So Amazon has seen some success with this button. And they are making it more broadly available, working with more than 100 merchants in the US at the moment. However, they don't have a timeline to launch the button outside of the US, and it's only available for merchants that are on the Amazon Prime program, because they really wanted to ensure that the whole experience, including the logistics part of it, is meeting up to the customer expectation. But this comes with one caveat. As with any Amazon solutions, it's a closed garden, meaning that Amazon does not really share the customer information with the brands. So Tide does not really know who the customers are. They don't know the purchase patterns, and they cannot do any retargeting, marketing, or promotions at the right time to the consumers. But we understand that brands want to build this direct relationship with customers these days, because you want to collect the data, you want to understand a little bit more about them so that you can retarget them at the right moment, give them the right promotion, and in turn increase the conversion rate, build loyalty, right? And this is how Kwik comes into play. So we are the first open solution in the world that allows one-click ordering through this physical device that sits in people's household. And we work with any brands, and literally any brands, big or small. And in fact, we are already working with a few of the biggest beverage brands in the world: pizza, diaper, coffee machine, coffee capsules, pet food, or even some pharmaceutical brands. And how it works from a brand perspective is that we develop open APIs that we can brand the button in with one single brand, just like the Domino's case, so that every time you push the button, it's your usual basket already created for you. Or we can turn this into, let's say, Angela's favorite button. So I can configure the button with 3 different brands, for example. If it's one click, it could be my favorite cosmetic mascara. Double click is ordering diaper for my baby. And long press, it would be calling the customer service hotline, etc., etc. And some brands are actually getting even more creative about it. For example, the coffee machine maker, they are investigating how to embed the button in the new models that they're producing at the moment. So in future, when people buy the coffee machine, the button is already embedded in it. It becomes part of the whole branding experience. It's not a standalone button anymore, but it's right there for you. So one push of a button, you get your favorite coffee capsules to be replenished. And we can actually work with any third-party hardware out there. So how it works is, again, we develop these open APIs, and we can also interface with any payment gateways or delivery partners that are popular and specific to your local markets. And even better, if you're already selling online, if you already have an e-commerce infrastructure built up, we can. It's the simplest way to activate. We basically just plug into your existing order management system, and there you go. Literally, we're basically just adding another button along the user journey, and it doesn't change anything for you. But even better is that we have a very easy to use, intuitive data analytics backend. So if you're the brand coming from the brand side, you can log in anytime at the backend, and you can see exactly who's going to ordering from you, what are they buying, how often they buy, etc., etc. We're growing quite fast as a company. We're quite young. We started about 2 years ago in Tel Aviv. Working with a few brands already in the last 12 months, we have about 4,200 active users of the buttons today. And we're looking at growing that into 35,000 in the next 3 months and projecting into 2 million in the 2 years' time. So these are pictures taken from the Huggies pilot campaign that we did with Huggies in Israel. Basically, Huggies was planning this social media brand awareness campaign, and they wanted to try with the button as well. So what they do is that when they ship the big boxes of Huggies to about 120 KOL, key opinion leaders or influencer online who are very famous with their blogs or Facebook pages, etc., they also get the buttons shipped to them. And of course, there is some incentive to ask people to activate a button and share the experience online. So it was a very successful activation program for the button. And now we're looking at how to roll it out with other KC brands like Depend, also in Israel, in the US, and other markets like Turkey, etc. And it turns out to be a very successful social brand awareness campaign as well. At the same time, we were pretty busy working in the US. So this is the picture taken at one of the startup competitions organized by AB InBev. For those of you who are not familiar with AB InBev, basically they own the largest beer label in Americas, which is Budweiser. And we're launching with them in just a few weeks. We interface the button with two delivery partners at their choice, one for the West Coast and one for the East, to ensure that the thirsty Americans get their beer delivered to them very easily and very timely. And AB InBev actually is quite smart in the activation campaign as well. So the customers will get the buttons for free, and they get a discount off the first and second purchases through the button, because they really want to incentivize customers to try this new button, new way of consuming, and they want to turn it even into a habit for them. And that's why the second purchase, they get also a promotion. And actually, we're growing quite fast and getting some momentum. And some consultancy firm are actually quoting us as a direct challenge to the Amazon Dash button. And why? Again, Amazon Dash is only available in the US at the moment, but Kwik is already going global, and that's why we're talking to you here today for the Asia Pacific region. Amazon Dash, some people complain about the setup process of Amazon Dash being user-friendly. It could be time-consuming or even frustrating at times. But we're not too worried about that because Amazon is very good at what they do. So we're sure that they will keep on optimizing. But one really big problem with the Amazon Dash button is that people complain that when they push the button for the second order, the price that they're paying for the exact same thing could be drastically different from what they paid the very last time. And the reason why is because the pricing, your products being sold on Amazon, a lot of times is controlled by Amazon. And they could be running a number of promotions all the time. It could be a combination of different brands, or you buy 2 boxes today, you get a discount, but tomorrow it could be 3 boxes, etc., etc. So people get their not so friendly surprises from time to time. But if you work with Kwik, because we work directly with the brands, the pricing is totally in control of your hands, and we are very sure that you would do a much better job than Amazon. And if you do have a promotion, you will communicate a lot better with your end customers than Amazon. So, to activate the Kwik button, the easiest way is if you're a D2C enabled brand, meaning that you already have your e-commerce website or you are selling through maybe an online retailer already and have your e-commerce delivery partners and payment gateway ready, then it would be very, very easy. We just really need to plug into your existing system and you're ready to go. But if not, then we can also interface with the delivery partners of your specific market or payment solutions at your choice. And basically, we are allowing brands like these to sell directly to customers without even the need to put up a website, which sometimes could be quite an investment internally. It could be quite a substantial project even. Lastly, a very quick overview of our business model. It will require a one-off setup fee depending on the scale and the complexity of the interface that we have to do with you. And then there will be a small fee per order to be made through the buttons. And of course, there's the usual e-commerce services fee, which are not charged by us, but by your delivery partner, your service providers mainly, even for customer services or payments, etc. So here's our presentation. Thank you. I think we do have a few minutes to take some questions if you have any. Yes?
Thank you for presentation. It seems like a lot of things can be quite interesting if I look quite interesting and convenient. These days, the mobile commerce is progressing very quickly and it's becoming really convenient. So if you compare with other services offered in mobile, what would be the consumer benefit? That's the first question. And secondly, but at the end of the day, consumers probably need to communicate with the seller. They may just mistakenly just press the button, or they need to change the product, or etc. So how, in operation environment, how do you manage this? And what has been the biggest challenge for those who already have done, or even maybe we can talk about the Israel pilot case?
Right. So the first question, if I understood correctly, is how this button make it even better than people going to the app, to the mobile app to place their orders, right?
Yeah. So for example, in Korea, mobile app is also really convenient. You just it's very 1, 2, 3 steps. Yeah. So given this will be basically at home, but people move all the time, and with mobile it will take less than 1 minute. So why people even bother to use dash button when they can do very quickly with the mobile?
On the app. So the button is really targeted for brands and products that people buy repeatedly, like diaper brands. For example, I wouldn't be changing diaper brands or sizes for my babies every day, right? And washing powder as well. Usually you like one product and brand, and then you just stick with it forever or for a long time. So, and the button is, to a brand, it's easy for brand recall. So if you stick it next to your washing machine, like the Amazon Tide button example, it makes it easier for people to just push the button. Or maybe I'm rushing out and I forget to place my order. And then in my next laundry load, I realize that I'm actually out of washing powder. So there are different reasons why people prefer the button than even going to the mobile device. So this is even easier, but it does not apply to all scenarios. But it works very well for consumer brands, like the KZ brands. And even for pizza, I forgot to mention, we didn't know that 76% of people order the same pizza over and over again, which is kind of surprising, but that's apparently what people do.
We have been asked this question for many times outside in our booth, but basically the button, I think to reorder through a button take you 2 to 3 seconds, and then you go to the app, like take 10 seconds. So we want to control the consumer journey. So basically, if customer had a second to think about what else they should order for their baby, maybe they can swap to the other brands. So with this button, right, so they can easily for replenishment, so that when they press the button, it's easy. So keep your customer loyalty and keep them out of the other brand for touching, right? So this is our findings. And Amazon also find the same data is that they have like more people order through this button, life growing very fast. So we have the same finding from the Amazon as well. Yeah.
Just before we go to the second question, do you have any data? What's the rate of active users once you start? Maybe they will be interested in using for a few months.
Yeah.
But along the time,
yeah,
how much percent of people actually stay as active users?
Yeah, I think we are too young to have that much of data, but from the initial first 3 months data, we show the stickiness to this button is really high. And also back to your second question about, because we have we have two model. One is one-step order without notifying your application. So we need to work with an application in your mobile phone as well to preset the order merchandise. But we can have two-step. For example, when you press the button, and then you need to notify your mobile app in order to approve it. It's also working. And also there's a very funny Italian asking about, is the button shoot for his grandmother? Because he worry about like his grandmother will accidentally press the button. So we will maybe put a note on the button saying, we also have sound and lighting. So when the sound plays a ding sound, and then they will know that the order is complete. So we can work around for many solutions. We are very flexible to make sure that we can answer your question. Yeah.
Just to add a question to your answer, then is it possible for those who even may have difficulty in using mobile phone, is it possible to use this button and call the seller? I mean, if you have to go to mobile again to change your order or whatever, it will be there will be not really big benefit of using very simple button. But with the button, can you call?
Yeah, so the button may not be able to trigger your phone so that you call me directly. But we're talking to a number of brands from different categories. One example is the hotel industry. So maybe they will give it to the VIPs checking in. And if you just want someone to come, your butler to come to your room to at your service, then they just can push the button, or they can call you back instead of you calling them. So some people are already thinking about it. So essentially the button can be configured into this usual pattern or action that brands or specific industry can make good use of. And actually just a few days ago, Amazon launched the second version of the button, but it's for the geeks, for developers. So they sell for $20, I think, to developers, and they will be able to use the APIs and configure the button the way that they want. We even explore some ideas with Uber, for example. If I connect the button with my phone already and I can go anywhere, when I push the button, the GPS signals actually would help Uber to send a car to pick me up already. So I don't need to go to my mobile anymore, even though that the Uber apps is already very, very nice. But what if we make it even nicer? Right? And I think you have a second question, which is also very important as well, so I want to answer that. When the customer push the button, they will get an SMS order confirmation, right? And it will have a summary of the order that you usually purchase, how many quantity, the pricing, etc. And if today I want to buy 3 instead of 2 boxes of Huggies, then I just click the link and it will open up the app and I can change the order detail immediately. Or if I don't want to, then I just let it be and the order will be confirmed. So we could configure it because some brands think it's better that the user get a confirmation step in between. But we highly recommend them not to, because the point of the button is really to shorten that purchase funnel. Compared with a web normal purchase funnel, we shrunk already 7 to 8 steps. And compared to mobile, you mentioned maybe 3 steps. You can already place an order, but with this, it's only just 1 click.
Sorry. Do you have any examples of brands who've integrated this with any loyalty programs?
Right now, we're talking with some hotels, and they are going to that directions. But we cannot disclose a lot of details at the moment. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe later.
Maybe later. Yes, definitely.
I suppose what we're also interested in is there's a big question up there, which is, are you already connected to popular online retailers in APAC like Tmall or Lazada? And specifically for us, in Australia, we have a duopoly. They're known as Coles and Woolworths. So the challenge we have is the best way for us to deliver to our consumers in a big country is probably partnering with our retailers. So do you have examples where the D2C model has become a bit of a hybrid model and you've got good brand and retailer relationships with this button?
Yeah, I think currently in the Israel, right, Huggies is doing the test at this direction. So they create a channel that the retailer can work together. So we basically a triangle model. So Kwik, retailer, and Huggies. So when customer press the button, we will get the order in our system, and then the retailer will do the deliveries, and then the data will be shared between the Huggies and also the retailers. So back to your question, right? We don't have integration with those platforms at the moment, but we have a very open platform, open APIs that can easily integrate with those platforms. And also, we don't think those platforms are willing to talk to us directly. It is the brand who has the power to motivate those platform to integrate with us. And at the same time, you will get the data back for sharing. Yeah.
I'm from Yuan Kimberley in Korea, and we have fortunately have e-commerce platform, and we are operating e-commerce services right now. And once imagine we adopt your Kwik button into our e-commerce platform, then I can imagine how we can work. And you have your any presence or your resources to come back to Korea to do the integration work, to integration between the Kwik button and the APIs and our and with Yuan Kimberley MomQ systems.
We actually have a development team in Israel. They are very well knowledgeable about how to integrate. But back to your point is, I think you're talking about the D2C model, right? So you guys have a platform, maybe Magento or other, or self-developed. Yeah.
Actually, local owned we developed a platform ourselves.
Yeah. So I think basically to work with local platform, I think from my experience, it's very easy. So they are very open to create a API, maybe through, we have open API, the data can be connect through our API to exchange the information. For example, when your customer press the button, we will transfer the order information to your e-commerce system. And then the rest will be that you're taking your ordinary daily flow, so like the order management, where the warehouse, and pass the order to your delivery vendors. So the integration from my point of view is pretty straightforward and easy, yeah.